You are running, yet you remain in the same place. You are drinking, yet your throat remains parched. You believe that the next acquisition, the next achievement, the next relationship, or the next moment of pleasure will finally be the one that settles the dust in your mind. But the dust does not settle. It rises again, thicker than before, the moment the novelty fades. This is the nature of the condition you find yourself in. It is not a condition imposed upon you by the world, but a condition imposed upon you by your own mind. You are suffering not from a lack of things, but from an excess of wanting. Consider the state of your mind at this very moment. Is it still? Is it content? Or is it leaning forward, straining toward a future that has not yet arrived? Most of you live your lives in a perpetual lean. You lean toward the weekend. You lean toward the paycheck. You lean toward the approval of others. You lean toward a better version of yourself that exists only in your imagination. In this leaning, you lose your balance. You lose the only thing you actually possess, the present moment. The present is sacrificed on the altar of a future that may never come, and even if it does, it will not be as you imagine it. You must understand the mechanics of desire if you wish to be free of its tyranny. Desire is, effectively, a contract you make with yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want. You say to yourself, I am incomplete as I am. I will only be whole when I acquire that object or achieve that status. You voluntarily place a burden upon your back and agree to carry it until the world arranges itself in a specific pattern that pleases you. But the world is not under your command. The world moves according to its own laws, indifferent to your preferences. Therefore, when you attach your peace of mind to external outcomes, you are handing the master key of your happiness to a stranger. You are enslaving yourself to fortune. Why do you want what you want? If you examine your desires closely, stripping away the layers of social conditioning and habit, you will find that you rarely desire the thing itself. You desire the feeling you believe the thing will provide. You think the new car will bring you respect. You think the promotion will bring you security. You think the romantic partner will bring you love and validation. You are chasing states of mind, not objects of matter. Yet you seek these states of mind in the external world where they cannot be found. The car rusts. The job is lost or becomes tedious. The partner changes or leaves. If your peace is tied to these things, your peace is as fragile as glass. True power is not the ability to get whatever you want. It is the ability to not want what you do not have. This is a difficult truth for the modern mind to accept, conditioned as it is to believe that growth equals accumulation. You are told that to be more, you must have more. But reason dictates otherwise. To be more, you must need less. The man who needs nothing is akin to the gods, for he is self-sufficient. The man who needs everything is a beggar, regardless of how much gold he sits upon. If your happiness depends on the rim of a wine glass or the applause of a crowd, you are a slave to the glass and the crowd. Look at the things you once desired so desperately. Recall the burning intensity of your wanting 5 years ago, or 10. You thought, if only I had this, I would be happy. Perhaps you got it. Did the happiness last? Did it fundamentally alter the quality of your soul? Or did the satisfaction fade, replaced quickly by a new desire, a new target, a new source of anxiety? The horizon always recedes as you approach it. To chase the horizon is madness. The problem was never the absence of the object. The problem was the presence of the desire itself. The relief you feel when you get what you want is not the joy of the object. It is the relief of the desire stopping. It is the silence of the screaming voice in your head. You can achieve that silence without the object. You can achieve it by removing the desire. We must speak of the difference between natural desires and unnatural desires. There are desires that originate from the body's necessity: hunger, thirst, the need for shelter. These are easily satisfied. A crust of bread satisfies hunger as well as a banquet. Water from a stream quenches thirst as well as the finest wine. Nature is a modest mistress. She asks for little. But unnatural desires, desires born of opinion, vanity, and social comparison, are bottomless pits. There is no natural limit to wealth. There is no natural limit to fame. If you desire water, you drink and you are full. If you desire status, You can conquer a nation and still weep because there are no more worlds to conquer. Unnatural desires obey no laws of physics or biology. They are fueled by the imagination, and the imagination is infinite. Therefore, the anxiety they produce is also infinite. You perceive a gap between where you are and where you want to be. This gap is the breeding ground of your suffering. You look at your life and judge it insufficient. Who told you it was insufficient? It is your own judgment. You compare your reality to a fantasy, and naturally, reality falls short. But reality is real, and fantasy is smoke. When you argue with reality, you lose, but only 100% of the time. The disciplined mind does not demand that reality conform to its wishes. It conforms its wishes to reality. This is not resignation, it is alignment. It is the refusal to waste energy screaming at the rain for falling. Consider the freedom of the one who wants nothing. He walks through the marketplace and sees 1,000 things he does not need. He is not tempted. He is not envious. He is not anxious about whether he can afford them. He is whole. He carries his wealth within him in the form of his character and his capacity to reason. No thief can steal this. No market crash can devalue it. No tyrant can confiscate it. He is invincible because he has placed his value in the only place where he has absolute dominion, his own reasoned choice. The world tries to seduce you with the promise of more. It whispers that you are missing out. But what are you missing truly? You are missing out on anxiety. You are missing out on fear. You are missing out on the exhaustion of maintaining a facade. By refusing to play the game of accumulation, you step off the treadmill. You stand still, and in that stillness, you find the world comes to you. You begin to appreciate the simple majesty of existence itself, the ability to breathe, to think, to see, to understand. These are miracles that the desiring mind ignores because it is too busy looking for something better. There is no better than the present moment, for it is the only moment that exists. All else is memory or anticipation. When you desire something in the future, you are essentially saying that the present is not good enough. You are rejecting your life as it is occurring. You are trading the reality of existence for a phantom. This is a poor trade. It is a trade that bankrupts the soul. Let us look deeper into the nature of attachment. You attach yourself to things because you fear emptiness. You fill your house with possessions, your calendar with appointments, and your mind with noise, all to avoid facing the silence of your own being. But it is in that silence that reason lives. It is in that silence that you find the strength to endure. When you strip away the external supports, the titles, the possessions, the accolades, what remains? If the answer is nothing, then you are in danger. If the answer is a rational moral will, then you are safe. You fear losing what you have. This fear is the shadow of desire. If you desire wealth, you fear poverty. If you desire fame, you fear obscurity. If you desire life too clingingly, you fear death. The more you want, the more you have to lose, and the more vulnerable you become. The man who desires nothing has nothing to lose. He is free. He can speak the truth because he does not need your approval. He can act with justice because he does not fear the consequences. He is the only truly free man in a world of slaves, slaves to their own passions. Every time you say, I want, you are creating a dependency. You are saying, I require this external thing to be okay. You are weaving a web that binds you. The sage cuts these threads. He does not abstain from the world. He interacts with it, he uses it, but he is not used by it. He enjoys the feast if it is there, but he does not crave it if it is absent. He appreciates the company of friends, but he is not lonely in solitude. He holds all things loosely, like a handful of sand. If you squeeze the sand, it slips through your fingers. If you hold your hand open, it remains. To reduce desire is not to reduce life. It is to concentrate it. It is to remove the distractions so that you can focus on what truly matters. The cultivation of virtue, the honing of reason, and the fulfillment of your role as a human being. When you stop chasing the wind, you have the energy to build a house that can withstand the storm. You stop being a leaf blown about by every gust of passion and become the rock upon which the waves break in vain. Understand this. You have been trained to believe that satisfaction is an external event. You have been trained to wait for the world to give you permission to be at peace. You are waiting for the stars to align, but the stars are already aligned. The universe is unfolding exactly as it must. The only thing out of alignment is your perception. You are trying to swim upstream against the river of necessity. Turn around. Float with the current. This does not mean you become passive. It means you stop fighting the inevitable. It means you act within the sphere of your control and accept the rest with equanimity. The source of your unrest is not the difficulty of your life. It is the resistance you offer to it. It is the friction between your desires and your reality. To smooth this friction, you have two choices: change the reality or change the desire. Changing reality is often impossible and always uncertain. Changing desire is always possible and entirely within your power. Why then do you spend all your energy on the task that is not up to you and neglect the task that is solely yours? Consider the logic of the collector. He gathers objects, believing they add to his value. But does a man own his possessions, or do his possessions own him? He must guard them, insure them, worry about them, clean them. They occupy his space in his mind. He becomes a servant to inanimate matter. The more he gathers, the heavier his burden. To want less is to put down the heavy luggage. It is to walk light. It is to realize that you are not what you own. You are not what you wear. You are the ruling center of your mind, the decision-making faculty that chooses how to interpret the world. That is your kingdom. Everything else is borrowed territory. You must begin to observe the cycle of craving and gratification with the detachment of a scientist. Watch what happens when a desire arises in your mind. It begins often as a small suggestion, a whisper. This would be nice. I need this. If you entertain it, if you give it your assent, it grows. It becomes a demand. It creates a physical tension in the body, a restlessness. You feel a pull, magnetic and insistent. You believe that satisfying this pull will bring you to a state of peace. So you pursue the object of your desire. You strive, you struggle, you manipulate your environment. Finally, you attain it. What happens in that exact moment? There is a brief flash of pleasure, yes, but look closely at that pleasure. Is it the addition of something new, or is it merely the subtraction of the pain of wanting? The tension snaps. The restlessness subsides. For a moment, you are back to where you started before the desire arose. Calm, neutral, balanced. You ran a marathon only to return to the starting line. And how long does this peace last? An hour? A day? Soon the mind, addicted to the cycle, generates a new lack, a new I need. And you are off again, running on the wheel, chasing a carrot that is tied to your own head. You are like a dog chasing its own tail, convinced that if you just run faster, you will catch it. You will never catch it. The only way to win this game is to stop running. There is a profound dignity in the ability to say, this is enough. When you sit down to a meal, there is a point where your hunger is satisfied. To eat beyond this point is gluttony. It brings discomfort and illness. Yet with our desires for status, wealth, and pleasure, we have no such shut-off valve. We gorge ourselves until we are sick with anxiety. We must use our reason to build the boundaries that nature has not imposed on our imaginations. We must look at our piles of accumulation and ask, what is this for? Does this serve my ruling faculty, or does it hinder it? Simplicity is the antidote to the chaos of the modern soul. Simplicity is not poverty, it is focus. It is the elimination of the unnecessary so that the necessary may speak. When you want less, you have more time. You have more energy. You have more mental space. You are no longer scattered in 1,000 directions, chasing 1,000 different rabbits. You are centered. You are present. You can attend to the person standing in front of you. You can perform the task at hand with excellence because you are not mentally living in the outcome. The outcome is not your business. This is the hardest lesson to learn. You control the effort. You do not control the result. You control the arrow. You do not control the wind. When you desire the bullseye, you introduce anxiety into your aim. You tremble, you worry, And in doing so, you make it less likely that you will hit the mark. But if you focus only on the form, the draw, the release, if you focus on the action itself and release the desire for the result, your hand is steady. You act with purity, and if the wind takes the arrow, you can say, I did my part well. The rest belongs to nature. This separation of action from outcome is the key to invincibility. If you desire only to act virtuously, to act with reason and integrity, then you can never be thwarted. No one can stop you from being honest. No one can stop you from being brave. No one can stop you from being kind. These things are entirely within your jurisdiction. But if you desire reputation, wealth, or comfort, anyone can block you. Any accident of fortune can ruin you. Why place your happiness in a fortress that has no walls? Place your happiness inside the fortress of your own will. There, it is safe. Let us examine the fear of missing out, a plague upon your era. You look at the screens in your hands and see the curated lives of others. You see them smiling on beaches, driving fast cars, holding trophies. A pang of envy strikes you. Why not me, you ask? My life is dull compared to this. This is a failure of perception. You are comparing your internal reality, your doubts, your boredom, your struggles, with their external appearance. You are comparing the blooper reel of your life with the highlight reel of theirs. Do not be deceived, everyone carries a heavy load. The owner of the fast car worries about the scratch on the paint. The traveler on the beach worries about the emails piling up at home. The person with the trophy worries about winning the next one. External circumstances do not cure internal sickness. If you are anxious and dissatisfied in a small room, you will be anxious and dissatisfied in a palace. You will just have more room to pace. Freedom is not the ability to go where you want. It is the ability to be where you are. It is the capacity to sit in a quiet room and feel no urge to leave, no urge to check for messages, no urge to be entertained. It is the strength to face yourself without distraction. When you can do this, you are the master of your own life. You are no longer a puppet pulled by the strings of impulse. You must cultivate an indifference to things that are indifferent. In Stoicism, we distinguish between the good, the bad, and the indifferent. The good is virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, moderation. The bad is vice, ignorance, injustice, cowardice, excess. Everything else, health, wealth, reputation, pleasure, pain, even life and death, is indifferent. This does not mean we do not care about them at all. We prefer health to sickness, we prefer wealth to poverty, but we do not mistake them for the good. We do not attach our happiness to them. We use them as tools. A carpenter prefers a sharp saw to a dull one, but he can still do his work with the dull one if he must. He does not quit because the tool is imperfect. Your life is the wood. Your character is the carpenter. The external circumstances are the tools. Do not complain about the tools. Work with what you have. If you have little, show how a noble spirit handles scarcity. If you have much, show how a disciplined mind handles abundance without corruption. The material does not matter. The artistry of your living does. Think of the energy you waste on if only. If only I had more money. If only I was taller. If only I had started sooner. This energy is stolen from the present. It is poured into a void. If only is the song of the dead. The living say, even so. Even so I will act. Even so I will do right. Even so I will find a way. This is the voice of agency. This is the voice of power. By reducing your desires, you increase your agency. When you need little, you are difficult to manipulate. You are difficult to threaten. You are difficult to bribe. You become a sovereign entity. The world can take your possessions, but it cannot take your assent. It can imprison your body, but it cannot imprison a mind that does not desire to be elsewhere. Practice this in small ways. When you feel the urge to buy something trivial, pause. Ask, is this necessary? Wait a day. Wait a week. You will often find the desire evaporates, leaving you richer for not having spent and stronger for not having yielded. When you feel the urge to interject in a conversation to prove you are smart, hold your tongue. Listen. Observe the desire to be validated and let it pass. Watch it float away like a cloud. In that silence, you build power. We are discussing a form of training. Just as an athlete trains the body to endure stress, the philosopher trains the mind to endure desire without succumbing to it. You must harden yourself against the seductions of the soft life. Comfort is a dangerous trap. It weakens the will. Occasionally, deliberately choose the harder path. Skip a meal. Take a cold shower, sleeping on the floor. Remind your body that it is a servant, not the master. Remind yourself that you can endure discomfort, that you do not need luxury to survive or to be happy. When you realize you can survive with very little, the fear of poverty vanishes. And when the fear of poverty vanishes, a vast space opens up in your soul. In that space, peace can finally take root. Not the peace of sleep, but the peace of a mountain, grounded, immovable, witnessing the storms but not shaken by them. This is the promise of wanting less. It is not a life of deprivation. It is a life of liberation. You are clearing the weeds so that the garden may grow. You are silencing the noise so that the music may be heard. Consider the cost of your desires. I do not speak of the price tag on the shelf, for that is merely currency. I speak of the price you pay in the coin of your life. Every object you covet, every status you chase, every future you obsess over requires a payment of time, attention, and mental energy. You are trading the limited hours of your existence for things that cannot love you back. You are exchanging your freedom for furniture, your tranquility for applause. Is the trade worth it? When you lie on your deathbed, will you wish you had spent more time worrying about the model of your car or the opinion of a stranger? You must learn to calculate the hidden tax of wanting. The tax is worry. The tax is maintenance. The tax is the fear of loss. When you acquire a new possession, you acquire a new source of potential grief. The cup is not broken yet, but in the timeline of the universe, it is already dust. If you attach your heart to it, you are setting yourself up for a heartbreak that is mathematically inevitable. This is not pessimism, it is optics. It is seeing the world with clear eyes. To desire the permanent in a world of impermanence is to deny the nature of reality. Let us speak of the desire for the approval of others, for this is perhaps the most insidious chain of all. You tailor your words, your appearance, and your actions to solicit the praise of people you may not even respect. You hand over your self-esteem to the mob and say, "Please tell me I am good." What happens when they are silent? What happens when they turn on you? You collapse because your foundation was external. To want less includes wanting less validation. The rational mind knows its own worth. It does not need a jury to confirm it. If you have acted with justice, if you have spoken with truth, if you have treated your fellow humans with dignity, you are sufficient. The applause of the crowd adds nothing to the gold of your character. The booing of the crowd takes nothing away. You must reach a point where you are so grounded in your own reasoned judgment that praise and blame sound exactly the same. Just noise. Imagine the freedom of the man who does not need to be liked. He cannot be leveraged. He cannot be shamed into silence. He speaks the truth because he has no desire to trade truth for popularity. He is dangerous to tyrants and liars because he has nothing they can take from him. They can take his reputation, but he does not value it. They can take his body, but he knows he is not his body. By wanting nothing from them, he becomes their equal, or perhaps their superior. Some will claim that this philosophy leads to passivity. They argue that if you desire nothing, you will achieve nothing. They say that hunger is the engine of progress. They are mistaken. They confuse ambition with desperation. The Stoic is not passive, the Stoic is active, but the fuel is different. The ordinary man acts because he is hungry for the result. He is desperate for the reward. If the reward is removed, he stops acting. The Stoic acts because it is the right thing to do. He acts because nature has designed him for action, just as the eye is designed for seeing and the foot for walking. He builds, he creates, he leads, and he loves, not to extract value from the world, but to contribute value to it. Think of an actor on a stage. The bad actor is obsessed with the audience. He keeps glancing at the crowd, wondering if they are clapping, wondering if they love him. He is distracted. His performance suffers. The great actor is lost in the role. He focuses entirely on the craft, on the truth of the moment, on the excellence of the performance itself. He does not desire the applause. He desires to play the part well. Paradoxically, it is the great actor who receives the standing ovation. But by then, he does not need it. Be the great actor. Your role in this life may be a parent, a worker, a leader, or a friend. Play the role with total commitment. Focus on the excellence of your own conduct. But do not demand that the audience appreciates it. Do not demand that the play ends happily. Those things are written by a different playwright. Your only task is to say your lines with truth and to exit the stage with dignity. When you remove the frantic energy of wanting, you reveal the steady energy of doing. You become like the sun. The sun does not ask for payment to shine. It does not go on strike if the earth does not worship it. It shines because it is the sun. That is its nature. When you align your will with reason, you do good because it is your nature. You do not need the bribe of a reward. The action itself is the reward. Observe how the desire for more distorts your relationship with time. You are always living just ahead of yourself. You are eating breakfast but thinking about the commute. You are driving but thinking about the meeting. You are in the meeting but thinking about the weekend. You are never actually here. You are a ghost haunting your own life. By wanting less, you collapse the timeline. You stop treating the present moment as a mere bridge to a better future. The bridge is the destination. This moment, this breath, this sensation, this challenge is the only life you have. To reject it in favor of a mental fantasy is a form of madness. When you stop rushing toward the next thing, the texture of life becomes richer. You notice the light on the wall. You hear the tone in a friend's voice. You taste the water. These are small things, yes, but life is made of small things. If you are too busy wanting the big things, you miss the entirety of your existence. You walk through a garden with your eyes closed, dreaming of a forest that does not exist. Open your eyes, the garden is here. You must also confront the ultimate limit of desire, death. All that you accumulate, you must eventually leave behind. The pharaohs built pyramids to house their treasures, and yet they lie in museums, their gold stared at by tourists. The accumulation of matter is a futile attempt to deny our mortality. We build piles of things to create a wall between us and the void. But the wall is transparent. The sage looks at his possessions and says, "These are temporary loans from the universe. I will use them while I have them, and I will return them without complaint when the time comes." This applies not just to objects, but to people. To love someone possessively is to clutch at water. To love someone with stoic wisdom is to appreciate their presence deeply, knowing that they are not yours to keep. This knowledge does not diminish love. It intensifies it. It makes every moment precious because it is recognized as finite. If you want nothing that is not yours, you can never be robbed. You can only return what was borrowed. Consider the metaphor of the banquet. You are a guest at the feast of life. The dish is passed to you. You reach out and take a moderate portion with gratitude. You do not grab the platter and hoard it. You do not scream at the host if the dish passes you by. You do not stare enviously at what is on your neighbor's plate. You enjoy what is in front of you. And when the banquet is over, you rise, thank the host, and leave. You do not cling to the table leg, begging for one more crumb. Most people behave at the banquet of life like starving gluttons. They fight, they steal, they weep over spilled wine. They ruin the feast for themselves and everyone else because they cannot master their own hunger. Be the dignified guest. Eat when there is food. Fast when there is none. In both states, preserve your composure. The discipline of perception requires you to constantly relabel the objects of your desire. You see a luxurious coat. Your mind says, status, warmth, beauty. Correct your mind. Say, this is sheep's wool dyed purple. You see a bottle of vintage wine. Say, this is fermented grape juice. You see a person you lust after. Say, this is flesh and bone, subject to the same biological laws as myself. Deconstruct the glamour. Strip the varnish off the world. When you see things for what they are physically, rather than what they represent socially, they lose their power over you. You stop being bedazzled. You stop being a moth flying into the flame. You realize that the things you are killing yourself to get are merely arranged atoms. Is it worth your peace of mind? Is it worth your honor? This is not cynicism. It is accuracy. It is the refusal to be duped by appearances. The world is a master illusionist, constantly trying to sell you things you do not need. Your reason is the sword that cuts through the illusion. Keep it sharp. As you practice this, you will find a strange thing happening. You will begin to pity the powerful. You will see the billionaire frantic to protect his empire and realize he is a servant to his own fortune. You will see the celebrity desperate for attention and realize she is a prisoner of the public eye. You will realize that by having less, you often possess more. You possess yourself. The ancient philosophers walked in the colonnades with nothing but their cloaks, yet they carried the universe in their minds. They understood that the only true wealth is the soul's disposition. If your soul is ordered, if your judgments are sound, if your will is aligned with nature, you are rich. If your soul is chaotic, if you are torn by conflicting desires, if you are at war with reality, you are poor, even if you own a continent. The path to peace is subtraction. Subtract the envy, subtract the fear, subtract the need to be right, subtract the need to be seen. Chip away at the marble of your ego until the statue of the rational self is revealed. It is a long work. It is the work of a lifetime. But every chip you remove lightens the load. You have heard the reasoning. You have seen the mechanics of your own suffering. Now, how do you integrate this into the chaotic fabric of your daily existence? Wisdom is not a theory to be admired. It is a weapon to be wielded in the heat of battle. The battle is in your mind, and it happens every time you open your eyes. You must establish a regime of the mind. Just as you would not expect to run a marathon without training your legs, you cannot expect to walk through a world of temptation without training your judgment. Begin with the morning. When you wake before the world rushes in with its demands, remind yourself of the hierarchy of control. Remind yourself, today I will meet things I desire and things I fear. None of them are good or bad in themselves. Only my response to them is good or bad. Set your intention not on what you will get, but on how you will be. Define success for the day not as everything going my way, but as keeping my head regardless of how things go. When the impulse of desire strikes, and it will strike, do not fight it with brute force. Do not scream no at your own mind. Instead, pause. Introduce a gap between the stimulus and the response. In that gap, ask a simple question. What is the promise this desire is making? The desire promises happiness. It promises relief. It promises that this time will be different. Look at that promise with the cold light of memory. Has it ever kept that promise before? Or is it a liar? Treat the desire like a dishonest salesperson. You do not have to be angry with the salesperson. You simply do not have to buy what they are selling. You can say, I see what you are offering. I know the cost. I am not interested. Practice the art of postponement. When you want something, say to yourself, I can have this, but not right now. I will consider it in an hour. Often, the heat of the impulse cools within minutes. You regain your reason. You realize you did not want the thing. You just wanted the dopamine hit of the acquisition. By waiting, you starve the impulse and feed the will. Reframe your deprivations. When you do not get what you want, do not see it as a misfortune. See it as training. The universe has given you an opportunity to practice endurance. It has given you a heavy weight to lift so that your spiritual muscles may grow. If you get stuck in traffic, do not fume. Say, this is a lesson in patience. If you are insulted, do not retaliate. Say, this is a lesson in dignity. Everything is fuel. Throw it all into the fire of your character. Change your definition of wealth. Stop counting your money to determine your worth. Count your hours of peace. Count the number of things you can look at without wanting. Count the days you pass without envy. This is the ledger of the Stoic. If this ledger is full, you are prosperous. Be wary of the trap of optimizing your life. Modernity tells you to optimize your sleep, your diet, your career, your hobbies. This is just another form of maximizing desire. It is the desire for perfection. It creates a subtle, humming anxiety that you are not doing enough. You are a human being, not a machine to be calibrated. It is acceptable to be imperfect. It is acceptable to have a slow day. It is acceptable to just be. Do not let the drive for self-improvement become a new form of self-torture. Improvement comes from subtraction, not addition. Return constantly to nature. Nature is not anxious. The tree does not envy the flower. The river does not try to flow faster than the gravity allows. There is a rhythm to the world that is older and wiser than your frantic pacing. Align yourself with it. Accept the seasons of your life. There are seasons of growth and seasons of decay. There are seasons of gaining and seasons of losing. To fight the winter is futile. To accept the winter is to find the beauty in the silence of the snow. Finally, remember that you are already complete. The lie of desire is that you are a fragment searching for a whole. The truth of reason is that you are a whole interacting with other wholes. You possess the divine spark of reason. You have the capacity for love, for justice, for courage. These are not things you buy. These are things you are. You do not need to add anything to your nature to make it valid. You only need to clear away the debris that hides it. The peace you seek is not over the horizon. It is not in the next job. It is not in the arms of a lover. It is not in the bottom of a glass. It is right here. It is underneath the noise of your wanting. It is the silence that remains when you stop screaming at the universe. Stop running. Stop begging. Stop bargaining. Stand still. Look at what you have. Look at who you are. It is enough. It has always been enough. Peace comes from holding only what belongs to you and releasing what never did.